Hi, welcome back. My name is Sarah, aka Sunflower. On my channel, I like to talk about spirituality, self-development, and real raw topics, and I really try to be vulnerable and bring you all along on my journey. So I am a 28-year-old student of life, and I love to talk about topics that are applicable to our human experience. So I really try to bring you along with me as I evolve. And as you can see by the title, today I wanted to talk about my recent download. I recently was ranting about the state of the world and how deeply disconnected we are from how we are naturally supposed to live, and it hit me and I got a download in real time. I want to talk about it. Now, for those of you that don't know what a download is, that is when you get some sort of divine calling or a deep understanding that seems to hit you like a eureka. So anyway, my download was how to transcend, how to evolve from where you are into where you are meant to be. So connecting with your higher self, which will in turn help the evolution of the human race. Stick with me, okay? I'm a little wonky, but stick with me. So basically, I was talking about how the world is completely the opposite of what it should be. And I've always believed that if you are not sure how to live your life, look outside. Specifically, look at nature. It is okay to gradually change seasons, which is exactly what nature shows us. However, if you look at the state of the world according to mass media, it's all productivity. It's all just work, think, produce, and that is just not how we are meant to be, period. We are not designed for stress. That is why stress can kill us, because we were never meant to be stressed. That's a whole nother video. Today, I'm talking about the download that I received, and it makes so much sense. So I want to share it. Sorry, this camera moves. 1 second. Okay, the angle got a little bit messed up, but I think we are still okay. So basically, my download pertained to 4 steps that it takes to transcend, and as I said, in turn, help the human race. These 4 steps could really change your life. Now, I'll tell you the 4 steps before I get into the details of each one. Number 1, know thyself. Number 2, identify and eliminate all distractions. Number 3, ascend. Number 4, educate, period. Those are the 4 steps, and those have come to me in a download, and I knew that I had to share. So let's get into it. Let's start with step 1, knowing thyself. Now, in this video, I hope I don't trigger you, but if I trigger you, that's okay. I don't really care, because what I'm saying is my truth. So in this video, I'll be toggling back and forth between the way of the current world and the way that I think and believe we should be operating. Okay, so when it comes to step 1 and knowing thyself, it is extremely important to know yourself and understand your power and understand that you have God energy within you. One of my mantras that I always say is the energy in which worlds were created flows through me. That energy flows through you too. You were created to be a creator. You have extremely strong power. So knowing thyself and understanding where you came from, understanding you're a spiritual being, understanding there is no real authority above you on earth, genuinely have the spiritual connection and the power of your mind, heart, and soul. All of that mixed together, it makes you an extremely powerful being. But the way we live today, they tell you the opposite. Now, again, I'm not trying to trigger anybody. It's crazy. Every time I'm about to get into it, the camera starts moving. They don't want you to know the truth. No, I'm kidding. But when it comes to religion, hear me out, okay? I was raised Christian. I 100% respect Christianity. I just cannot relate anymore, because when it comes to religion, and I'm only really familiar with Christianity, but I know this is the same amongst a lot of different religions, we are taught to pray to a God outside of ourselves. We are taught that there is an entity outside of ourselves that will come and save us, and that you ask forgiveness from. That something was sacrificed so that you were forgiven for making mistakes. aka sinning. But if you really look at the psychological aspect of religion, you would understand that there are some manipulative tactics involved. I know I might lose you, but that's okay. I will reach the people that I need to reach, and the people that watch my content, I would assume that you're open-minded, so stick with me. So when you are taught that there is an entity outside of you that you are lower than, that you pray to, and that saves you, that is directly teaching you that you are less powerful than this God. So if you are able to confuse someone about who they are and their own power, that means that you can tell them who they are because they don't know. If you're able to distort how someone sees themselves, then you are able to tell them who they are, and you are able to form that self-image. And so that's why number one is knowing thyself, understanding that you are not your name, you are not your social security number, you are not your job title, you are not any of the obligations that you have created for yourself. That is based in ego. That is all based in ego. This is a game. This is spiritual war. You are not your problems. You are not your mistakes. You are not your triumphs. You are none of these things that you identify with. These are worldly things. These are things you don't take with you when you die. Therefore, they really don't matter. But of course, the way society is set up, all of these things that don't have a lot of value are pushed as if they do. And that's okay, because we're human, right? I still have some sort of identification with things that are outside of myself as well. I always have to say this, but anytime I speak, I'm speaking from a place of we are on the same level. I will never speak down and say that I am smarter than you. No. That's not what I'm here to do. So number one is knowing thyself, looking in the mirror and really talking to yourself, taking some time to do research on the power of the mind, understanding and understanding what we can do when we indulge in solitude and silence. We become very powerful, which is another reason why there are distractions everywhere, because they know how powerful silence can be. So number one is knowing thyself and understanding who you are. And when you know who you are, you know what you're capable of. And also, most importantly, when you know who you are, you know who you aren't. Period. Nobody can tell you who you are if you know who you are. Now, step two is eliminating distractions. This is tough. I had a lot of distractions in my life. Still do. I still do. They are not all gone, but they are on their way out. But a big part of knowing yourself is also realizing your patterns, understanding what you do that keeps you away from being your highest and best self. So a lot of times these distractions are everywhere and you don't even realize. Like, obviously one of my biggest distractions, if you've been watching my channel, you would know a big distraction of mine was alcohol. Another distraction of mine used to be the opinions and validation of others. For you, it might be gambling. For you, it might be drinking as well. Or it might be that job. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not saying quit your job or anything, but what I'm saying is take a deep look at your life. Look at how you spend your time, your money, your attention. In order to do this type of deep shadow work, you have to be honest with yourself. And in step one, once you know yourself, that is when step two becomes a little bit easier, because you eliminate the noise and then all that's left is you and your thoughts. And that's deep, for real, because you might hear some stuff that you don't want to hear, but you have to face that in order to transcend. So understand what those distractions look like. Is it that person? Is it that phone? Is it that drink? Is it spending money? Like, what is distracting you? What has your attention? Is it procrastination? Whatever that looks like, if you can identify the problem, you can solve the problem. It might take time. When I say step 1, 2, 3, and 4, that does not mean you're going to get it done in a week or a month or a year. Sometimes these steps take a lifetime, but understanding what the steps are can really help you guide the steps that you take in order to move through each of the 1, 2, 3, and 4. So once you take time and you're realistic with yourself about what your distractions are, that helps you make an action plan to eliminate them. So I challenge you, as I always do, get a piece of paper or go into the notes app on your phone, title it distractions. I want you to at least put numbers 1 through 5. Be completely honest with yourself. If you want to become better, you cannot ignore the problems. On this channel, we talk about the problems. We face the problems. That's the only way to grow. Now, once you have your list, I want you to read each one, and I want you to put small practical actions that you could take to move you further and further from those distractions. So if your distraction is social media, instead of going cold turkey and deleting it from your phone and going crazy, set alarms. Figure out a way to put a timer on the app. I think that if you have kids that are teenagers, I think you can put a restriction time on the app. I'm not too sure. I saw a few commercials back in the day. I don't know if it's a real thing, but check it out. If your distraction is alcohol like mine, try to give yourself detoxes for certain periods of time. Like, let's say you don't drink for a week or 2 weeks, depending on your case. Because back in the day, it was hard for me to stay sober for a long time. And if you know, you know, that's why I took that year break. And it really helped. I'm gonna make a separate video just about that experience, but give yourself regulations. And the most important part is sticking to those regulations. And it's going to be tough. It might take a few times, a few trial and errors. Nothing wrong with that. As long as you're taking your time and being kind with yourself and remembering that your goal is becoming your best self, you should be okay. No matter how many times you start over, it's okay to start over. It matters that you're starting over. So all of this can help you with step 2, which is establishing and eliminating your distractions. Now, step 3 is where you ascend. Now, if you're not familiar with the definition of ascending, I like to say exact definitions. So let me look that up for you really quick. Okay, let's see. Okay, so according to Google, the definition of ascend is either A, to go up or climb, or B, to rise through the air. So essentially, it's to elevate. Once you hit step 1, you know yourself. No one can tell you who you are. You're looking around at things a little differently because you are not conforming to the identity that you once believed. Now, step 2, now that you have a different identity, right? Now that you really know who you are, the distractions cannot keep you from yourself anymore. So realizing who you are and then eliminating distractions, that takes you to a completely different way of life. And that is step 3. So now you're elevating. Now you're acting differently. You are showing up with that God or goddess energy. It's such a raw and authentic thing when you see someone with that energy. And I forgot to mention that when you are going through these steps, sometimes you can toggle between a few steps. So it's not linear. You will not always go from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. Sometimes you go from 1 to 2, back to 1. You might skip to 3, then fall back to 2, and it's completely fine. This is a process. Like I said, this is sometimes a lifelong process, so there is no rush and there's no perfect way to get to the destination. This is life. We are here to learn and make mistakes, so please be easy on yourself. But when you elevate, this is where you now can look your distractions in the face and say, I'm no longer interested. This is when you can literally look around and look at what you used to accept and look at what you used to put yourself through, and you can literally say, I am better than this. Now, of course, I'm not talking about being better than anyone. That is very important for me to mention. Elevating does not mean that you are looking down at people. So when you're elevating in this type of process, that means that you are attracting things a lot quicker because that resistance isn't there. That doubt and fear and ego is not there. That was back in step 2. And also, we left that in step 1 with knowing thyself and understanding that you are separate from your ego. You are able to create freely. You are able to look at different concepts and constructs and literally say, that's not real. Things like the concept of time, completely unreal. There are a lot of things that you start to realize are not real. A lot of man-made constructs that are meant to keep you distracted. It hits differently when you look around and you really assess the way your life is. You realize, wow, this is not how I was designed to live. It's crazy. It's a crazy feeling. And once you are able to elevate and get to that point, it's hard to keep it to yourself. You want this way of life for other people. You want other people to wake up and realize who they truly are and how much power they truly have. A lot of that is what my channel is about. Like, I have learned a lot, and I want to share it because this could help us live our lives differently in a better way. So that elevation is a huge step in transcending into your highest self. And it does take time. It all takes time. And that is why step 4 is to educate. Now, like I said, it's not linear. So you can be in step 4 while you're in step 1, 2, and 3. And I think that's what I did. Educating and sharing what you've learned and how to get to a specific point and how to get through the struggles of this human experience, that is a huge part of elevation as well. So educating is very important because once you have specific knowledge, keeping it to yourself is against everything that you have learned. Ascending and elevating and realizing that we are all one consciousness, realizing how powerful we are in unity, you can't help but to educate people around you. You cannot help but to tell people how powerful they are because you were in that space. You were in a space where you didn't know what to do and you didn't know your power and you were conforming to what the world told you that you were. When in reality, it's the opposite. And that is how you elevate. That's how you ascend. That is the point of life. That is one of my gifts. That is one of the things that I am very passionate about. Not only going through these steps out loud, raw, but explaining how difficult it is, explaining how far I've come, explaining when I fall back down and get back up. That's literally why I share all of these things, because I'm not better than you and you're not better than me. We're on the same level playing field. And the mass media is not telling us how life really goes. The mass media is lying to us and making us think that things that are not important are important and keeping us away from what really is important, which is knowing thyself, eliminating distractions, ascending on purpose, and educating the next person. It's a cycle, but it's a very abundant cycle. And again, this is how nature exists. This is how ecosystems are so successful. There are continuous moving parts, and it goes this way. It goes like this. Because even as you are educating others, you are then getting a deeper understanding of who you are when you hear other people's perspectives, and it helps you to move forward with the process. And it's so exciting because you get to share your different experiences, and then you get to learn more about yourself, and then you just continue the cycle because life goes on, and each level requires a new you, and so more distractions might come about. So this is not something that you do and then you just stop doing. Once you hit step 4, you are back in step 1. It's a beautiful, beautiful cycle, but it gets more intentional and it gets deeper every single time. So I just wanted to share this download. I knew I could not keep it to myself. That is the whole purpose of step 4, and I believe that is why it came to me. So keep in mind, getting to that next stage in your highest self is a lifelong journey, and there are different levels of your highest self as you evolve. So what you feel like your highest self is today, in 5 years, your highest self might look a little bit different. And so this process is ever evolving. And that's the best part. It's ever evolving, just like you. And so you grow, you bloom, your leaves fall, you return to the ashes. And in the next season where it's time for you to grow again, that's exactly what you do. It goes like this. This is abundance. So I'm really excited to share this with y'all. Hopefully this is informational and educational. Hopefully I didn't trigger too many people, but if I did, that's okay. Again, my name is Sarah, aka Sunflower. Please expect my next video soon. Don't forget to subscribe and join my garden, and I will talk to y'all in the next video. All right, peace.